Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We're on to the end of the roundup, actually. Having already covered this week's Marvel books, plus House of Slaughter, and this week's Batman books, well, Batman-related books. So now it's on to the rest of DC. Kicking things off, we've got Blue and Gold number 6. Where we left off, Omnizon had taken Booster and Beetle prisoner so they could fight to the death for the people of her planet, and as she had laid claim to, well, ours. However, also, Rip Hunter, the Time Master, showed up and stated that actually Omnizon might have a point about her as being, hers. So anyway, we start off with Rip Hunter explaining who he is to She-Cat and T-Girl, as well as I cannot friggin' remember her name. But anyway, our supporting cast basically is briefed on what's going on by Rip, but only who helped Booster and Beetle get set up with Blue and Gold Restoration. Her, Rip, as well as Skeets and Buggles head off to the past. Booster's trying to break him and Beetle out of their containment field, but it's no use. And with Booster saying that he'll keep firing until his batteries run out. Though Beetle states that they might need the charge in his suit. So, but they're told they'll fight to the death, and the loser dies. The victor will join the Omnizon's harem as a way of cementing the ties between Baymore and Earth. Apparently, most people, when faced with this, usually decline to fight. But Omnizon uses her to make it happen. Hypnotizes Beetle or Booster into believing that Beetle killed Booster's family. No, family, friends, siblings, everyone he loves. And his one goal is to avenge them. And so, the fight begins in earnest. But Rip discovers that actually, someone from Baymore did plant a flag on Earth. And so they have to think of a workaround. But the fight continues. But the brainwashing is working quite well until Rip shows up and basically states that no, you didn't put a flag on Earth. They look at their star charts and realize, oh, okay, the beacon's not there. Of course, they accuse Rip of lying, but you know, and he's compelled to tell the truth, explaining that he has not touched their marker. So, Rip, Booster, and Beetle return to Earth. Selfies are taken for their fans, and Debbie, I believe her name was, Terry, sees a picture of a young Rip with his father, Booster Gold. But Rip explains to her that she shouldn't know that, and no one should. And she realizes that Booster doesn't know this either. So if the universe knew, they could take Rip out by killing Booster. Or his mother, or another ancestor. So no one can know who Rip's father is. Terry. Yeah, Terry. But Terry leaves the time bubble and Rip heads out into the time stream. It turns out that Terry's being washed by Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes. Explaining he hadn't seen Ted or Booster in months. Thought he'd check out Blue and Gold Restorations, the restoration deal of theirs. But looks like he woke up to something big when he's attacked and shocked by a bunch of robotic tentacles, which is where the issue ends. I gotta say, it's nice to see Jaime back. I always love Ted, but you know, Jaime Reyes is also a good Blue Beetle, a very different type, which is kind of neat. While Ted's whole shtick is, based invention, stuff he's invented, because the Scarab never worked for him. Well, Jaime, the whole thing is the Scarab. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Deathstroke Inc. number 6. Where we left off, Trust had been revealed to be a front for a new and balanced secret society under the leadership of Calculator and Libra. Well, Deathstroke didn't like that idea and decided he was going to take over instead. And so he orders his new secret society for their first job, kill Black Canary. Yeah, she ain't having it though. Here's what you can to escape, calls Oracle. And Slade actually invites her to stay. Join the team. And she jumps off a cliff. The rest of the villains come out. One of them not being entirely pleased at the idea of taking orders from Deathstroke, and Deathstroke puts a bullet through his head. No further complaints after that. But Oracle's briefing the Justice League of what's going on, and they're about to mount a rescue when Dinah shows up and briefs them what's going on. So the League arrived at Trust's castle. It's been scrubbed. The only thing left is a painting of Slade, Dinah, and a couple others, though Dinah's face has been painted over with her to imply her wearing a Deathstroke's mask. That said, Deathstroke recruiting. Very much a join or die style thing. And he's got himself a nice, he's built a nice little throne, and basically kind of a let's begin. But he's being watched. By whom, you asked? His daughter, Rose, also known as Ravager. And I'm not sure who her accomplice is. I have, but though I assume that they popped up in during the Robin series. Looks like they're going to try and talk some sense into dear old dad, and that is where the issue ends. I guess I'm liking the direction Deathstroke Inc. is going in, and should be noted there's an upcoming crossover coming up between, I think it's Batman, Robin, and Deathstroke Inc. entitled Shadow War, which is going to kind of kick off with Deathstroke assassinating Ra's al Ghul. Fun times, right? Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got DC vs. Vampires, number 5. Where we left off, the League, acting on falsified intelligence provided by Wonder Woman and Green Lantern, go after Batman, having framed him for the murder of Barry Allen. Though Green Arrow had already gone to take care of Batman himself for the same thing, only for the two of them to both discover that neither is a vampire. So the issue begins in Gotham. Task Force X bursts into a warehouse and finds a bunch of dead and bloodless Joker goons. In the Batcave, the Justice League is taking on Batman and Green Arrow, but it's not going well for either side. Though Batman discovers that Wonder Woman is a vampire, and while facing off against Superman, well, turns out that Batman has a means of spraying kryptonite dust into Superman's face from something behind one of his teeth. Back with the Suicide Squad, well, King Shark becomes compromised and promptly takes a bite out of Black Tarantula. By take a bite out of, I mean from about bites off from about the waist up. Cyborg's trying to calm everyone down, talk things out, and Batman fries Gotham's entire power grid. Cass realizes that the power surge originated near the cave, and so yeah, the Bat family are en route. Ollie takes a shot at Green Lantern and misses his heart. and they managed to remove Marshall Manhunter from the playing field, getting him into the old JLA teleporter, which, once it's activated, Batman destroys it. Hawkgirl is incapacitated, and the squad is having to deal with vampires when Batgirl shows up, and when Batgirl asks Harley if there's anything she needs to know, Harley explains that vampires are real now. Joker's a vampire. Also, dinosaurs are real too. But, Wonder Woman reveals her vampiric nature to the rest of the League, going after Hawkgirl. And the Robins do what they can to get Bruce and Ollie out of the cave, and to slow the League down, Batman triggers a self-destruct on the mansion. In the rubble, it seems that at the very least, Diana and Hal have survived, as has Clark. And it seems as though Hal and Diana decided to turn Clark. Now, I'm going to say, if that gets pulled off, they better have a damn good explanation for how Clark's blood doesn't taste like liquid sunlight. Because, there's that whole thing where his cells absorb sunlight. But that is where the issue ends. And so far, this has been a fun series. It really has been. And it's one of the books I look forward to the most every month, just because it's so much fun. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Human Target number 5. Where we left off, ICE had arranged a meeting between Human Target and Martian Manhunter while investigating the attempt on Lex Luthor's life that ended up resulted in Human Target being poisoned. We go back and forth between a few things. Over dinner, Martian Manhunter asks Human Target to pass assault. A woman from Saturn's moon, Titan, named Emra, apparently taught Human Target when he was younger how to deal with psychic intrusion. And he does so, revealing that it seems as though Fire was the one who attempted to poison Luthor, and Marsh Manor helped get the money to her. So, also, Marsh Manor and Fire had a fling, which apparently Jean was ashamed of, as afterwards he'd usually be sitting in bed crying. But we see that the Human Target learned all this through his mental training with Emra, and this was while he was traveling with a man of Ra's al Ghul, a man under the control of Ra's al Ghul. Turns out that they were holding something over Emra, the key to her spaceship, and so Emra used human target to take out the guy with the ship key, and then left. We also learn a bit about his past, about human target's past. His mother died when he was young. His dad he mostly knew his mother through what his dad would say about her, and his dad didn't make the best decisions though. Got into debt and ended up getting killed by a loan shark, by a mob enforcer. Though human target went after the guy, took the guy on, tried to beat him down, but cops showed up and the guy ran. But yeah, so we now have pretty much got the entire, and so that's where things go. That's how things end. That's how the issue ends, at least. Human target has managed to potentially speaking, figure everything out. That said, we still have 7 issues, so more than likely, he's wrong. Moving on to our last book of the week, we've got Refrigerator Full of Heads, number 4. Where we left off, things were not looking good for our heroes. They'd called for backup, but they know they're going to have to work. But about 7 bikers show up, and yeah. Bikers shoot the hell out of the place, and well, our government agent heroes shoot the hell out of the bikers, and also start using the decapitated shark head on some of them as well. Cal takes a few shots, good ones at that, and dies sadly. And so now our remaining heroine takes all of her all the various heads she's removed with the axe, and starts asking questions. She manages to get some information. Namely about Erica Fury, who's trying to bring together all of the weapons, all of the enchanted weapons. Well, Erica is talking to June, the heroine of Basket Full of Heads. And the information is passed along, and it turns out that Erica has learned as much as she has on what happened on Brody Island through another survivor, Wade Clawson, June's ex-boyfriend, who managed to survive the wreck of the sheriff's boat. And that is where the issue ends. The best way I can think to describe Refrigerator Full of Heads is in terms of 80s horror movies, where like Basket Full of Heads was an offbeat and gruesome exploitation flick, whereas Refrigerator Full of Heads is the more tongue-in-cheek cash grab sequel, and it works because of that. It works when you look at it like that. But anyway, that's going to do it for this week. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.